hopefully the donor area shouldn't be thin enough to require any sort of management or treatment. So the key here is not to over harvest. So textbooks will say that you can sort of harvest up to about 50% of the donor area, which is probably about right. We normally go to maybe 35% to 40%. You want to also make sure that you leave some grafts in case you ever need to have a second hair transplant, at some point down the line. So I think you just got to be, the surgeon ought to be a little bit cautious and not to over harvest. It's important that we get a good result, so you need to take the number of grafts that are required in order to get a positive aesthetic result, but at the same time the surgeon needs to make sure that they don't over harvest the donor area, obliterate the donor area, so actually the donor area starts to look a bit thin, and it's not a great look when that's the case. If someone has had quite a lot of grafts taken and maybe to some degree had the donor area over harvested, there are some options available. So one obvious thing would be to have SMP, which is scalp micropigmentation. Essentially it's a form of tattooing, and what would happen is that the tattooist would cover the donor area in ink that is the same colour as your hair, and that just gives the illusion that you can't see the scalp, so that the area doesn't look thin, essentially. So SMP is a viable option, but rather than treating it, better would be to prevent it from happening in the first place, and that would be through not over harvesting the donor area.